Hey guys, Coach Curto here from Icons Rugby. How's it going? Just wanted to have a chat today about selections in and around, what scouts look for, okay, and what talent IDs look for. And it's really interesting, hey, because this is probably something that really relates to parents and also athletes around, how they can get picked. Because I know, like, there's a lot of information out there and a lot of people's feedbacks around kind of, looking at that vibe around body size and everything. And let's be honest, shape is great. Shape's going to get you a look, okay? If you're a footy player who's got a great build, you're tall, you're fit, you're strong, you're going to get a look in. It's just going to happen that you're going to get a look before everyone else. And people hate on this, and I don't understand why they hate on this. It's kind of like, if you want to be a basketball player and you only grow to 5'9", the chances of you making it are like 1 in a billion. You know what I mean? Doesn't matter how good you can shoot, doesn't matter how good you can do everything else. You have to be absolutely gifted in every other area if you don't have the right shape. And the beautiful thing about rugby and rugby league is that any shape can play the game. And that's what people forget. Oh, they always pick the biggest kids at under 14s, 15s, 16s, 17s. And people forget that, yes, they pick the biggest kids, and yes, those kids are going to get like a step up. And NRL clubs and Super 15 clubs are going to go, wow, he's got great size. Let's turn him into a rugby player. Or let's turn him into a footy player. And they'll try. But if those kids with the size don't have it inside of them, then they don't really make it. They don't go on to great things. Okay? So size is there, it's an advantage, but it's the same as speed, it's the same as passing, it's the same as decision making. And people don't look at it as a acquisition of skill sets. People look at it as, oh, he's so much bigger, he's going to get selected every time. Well, are the biggest guys in the world playing rugby league and rugby union? No, they're not. Unless your position calls for it. You know what I mean? Like, second rowers are probably the tallest people going around, but even then they're not 6'11", 6'12". They're 6'5", 6'6", 6'7". Some of them are a bit taller at 6'9", 6'10". But how many throughout the whole world of all rugby union players are extremely, extremely tall? Do you know what I mean? So, and even props shapes are changing. You've gone from that short nugget prop to a taller, leaner prop, because they understand that it relates more to kind of set piece, that the bigger your size are, the more force you can deliver. And there's a whole bunch of things around that. But I'm just saying is that you got to understand what coaches really, really look for. And you got to understand what talent ID scouts really, really look for. Okay? I know the number one thing that I hear from talent scouts and people looking at talent is footwork. 100%. If a kid has great footwork, dynamic footwork, can bounce off both feet. Doesn't have to be Benji Marshall, all right? You don't have to be a Benji Marshall or Tuivasa Sheck, but you've got to be able to step off both feet, jink and jive off both feet. If a player has footwork, bang, big tick, all right? If a player can pass both sides and read play both sides, big tick, no matter what position. Huge tick. You get a prop who can ball play both sides, tick on tick. So that's a guy with size who can ball play, okay? The second thing that they're looking for is attitude. And I mean on-field attitude. So it's body language. When they get scored on, how does that player react in the team? That's what they look for. It's character. It's are they going to suit? When they score, what does that player do? Now, this is probably the second, or I'd probably say the second biggest one for me, is how they handle a 3-on-2, right? Are they the player who's going to try and do it themselves? Or are they the player who will pass and play the support line because the pass has a better option? Like, these are the things that they're looking for. And I think what's created this kind of this development in rugby players these days, especially coming through the ranks, is they sit there and there's highlight reels along highlight reels along highlight reels of these guys running through people, being absolute beasts. Normally they're playing rubbish division football. They're playing third grade and throwing up a highlight reel. And kids are seeing this and going, oh, that's what I need to be because it's on social media. Well, the reason that kid's got a highlight reel is because he hasn't made it yet. And then even then, the thing that gets me is that because it creates so much hype, people show all the big highlights of, the superstars or what they do here and what they do there. Go have a look at Cameron Smith's highlight reel, one of the best players of all time. His highlight reel is not amazing because he adds so much to the team around guidance, delivery, consistency, that if you ask any coach, if they could pick a Cameron Smith over anyone else, they would probably pick a Cameron Smith. You look at, another 9 that's going around. You look at the guys who have speed or the guys who have a great pass or, these kind of things. It's great, but if they can't control the ruck, it changes. And this is something that a lot of people don't understand in youth development. I would have loved to have seen, I never got to see him as a junior, but watch Cam Smith, how he controlled 16, 17s. I got some mates who played with him. Manny from Icons played with him and said his way of controlling the game was a step above anyone else. Now, why are we not teaching our youth how to control the game, control tempo? Understand what to look for in defensive lines to go, that's when you run. That's when you pass. And it's really, really kind of frustrating around this because you have all these parents and stuff screaming for this. How do I get my kids selected? What do I need to do? What do I need to do? What do I need to do? All the information is in front of them. But the coaching methods we go down these days are all about instant recognition rather than trying to develop the actual talent and develop rugby players who can play both ends of the park. Footwork, the amount of tackles that I see just because someone makes a tackle, and this is probably an interesting stat in the NRL is people look at tackles and they look at, old mate made 50 tackles. Okay, there's also a secondary stat to that they don't release, and it's only now starting to come out. It's been in the NRL for about 4 or 5 years of a positive-negative ratio. So yes, they made the tackle, but did they slow down the play the ball, or was it a fast play the ball? If it's a fast play the ball, it's a negative tackle. If it's a slow play the ball, it's a positive tackle. And this is what people don't understand, is that these stats are coming out now that have really been around in the game for 5, 6, 7 years, but they haven't been public knowledge. And we're not teaching our youngsters how important these stats are. I honestly, I don't care if you if you miss your tackle, it's a complete cross. You've got to make it. But there's a difference between making a tackle and dominating contact. Now, if you dominate contact, you're doing 10x. So if we're thinking from a selection point of view, if you have a kid coming through the ranks who, yes, he might be a little bit smaller or whatever, if every time he makes contact, he dominates the contact because of his technique and ability to create force, then how amazing is that to people to go, man, he whacks, he hits people. He doesn't just tackle, there's a spark there, there's a game changer. Comes down to footwork. Wow. Every time he goes into contact, he creates a weak tackle. He can get to the weak side or he can go through wrists. Yes, he might get tackled, but talent scouts see this and go, wow, those small things, if I put that in my NRL or Super 15 system or Aussie Sevens or whatever system, I can 10x that. But I can't teach that because 1, they don't have time, and 2, they don't have resources. All right, that they're not there for that. The kids should already come preempted with that. So you've got to look at your game and go, well, hold on a second. I can't do that. I can't bounce off both feet. I can't pass both directions. I have a weak shoulder. So why don't you create a training plan or a development plan to be able to get around that? And that's probably the most important thing, is that people don't understand what actually makes selectors go, wow, 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 wow. Okay? So guys, that's it from me, Coach Curto, Icons Rugby. I'm out. Peace.